Hello, my people. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to having a podcast show. Today in our series, The Everyday Leader, we are building on the one thing that matters most for a positive future. The one thing that can change everything, and that is leadership. This is the 5th episode of Season 1, and we are just getting started. As someone who has had the privilege of engaging with a great number of youth leaders and those aspiring to be, I have seen one truth always stand out. And that is, not everyone is born a leader, but anyone can grow into a leader. One of the most important elements of growth is the ability to take action and lead. We often think of leaders as people who are born with something special. But that is all a myth. For leadership is not inheritable. It is not a birthright. Leadership is something that you have to learn. While some people may have a natural inclination towards leadership, not everyone is innately programmed to be a leader. So leadership for many is a process of development. I take a quote by John Maxwell where he said that leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And let's know that knowing the way, going the way, and showing the way does not happen overnight. So bottom line is, leadership is a skill set. Anyone can develop it. It's not a destination. No, it's a journey that we are all on. And effective leaders are the ones who put in the work, the ones who consciously decided to grow. So I ask, what does the journey of leadership look like? Let's know that in our previous episode, we talked about knowing yourself, self-awareness, self-consciousness. And that is the first journey of leadership. Leadership is having control over yourself, having control over your actions, and inspiring others to move with you towards a goal. Like we said earlier, you can't lead people if you don't know how to lead yourself. Let's know that leadership is not like a fluffy concept. No, it is a critical skill. It's about understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, and also understanding what makes you tick. What makes you tick all the correct boxes at the right time and anytime. When you are aware of your biases, of your weaknesses, and your tendencies, you can lead people with more integrity and make better decisions. I refer to Peter Drucker, the father of modern management, anytime I'm talking about some of these things because he made a statement. And that is, you cannot manage other people unless you manage yourself first. We also have another concept of growing into a leader where we look at relationships. After knowing yourself, you have to build relationships. No leader succeeds alone. It has never happened before and it will never happen. A leader is nothing, absolutely nothing, zero without a strong team. You can't achieve all the great things that you have, all the great things that you have put in your books by working alone. You need to build a team, and building the team is not about putting up all the talented people in a room and working with them. No, it is far away from that. Building a team is talking about building respect, building trust, building understanding, and also a shared vision towards a common goal. So you find people who are ready to walk the talk with you and also build trust among yourselves. I say when it comes to relationship, it's about understanding the people you work with, understanding what motivates such people, and also what their concerns are, what their weaknesses are. And when you put all of this together, you are able to create a safe space for the people to do their best work, to work very well. Former President of the United States, Roosevelt, he said that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Let me take that again. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And knowing how much you care about them leads us into communication. Because you can only care about people if you communicate with them. And let's note a statement by Peter Drucker. He said, the most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't being said. You know, we have different types of communication. You have the verbal and the non-verbal. You have your bodily actions. You have the action that you do. I always say that is the highest point of communication beyond what comes from our mouth. Because if you are able to understand people beyond their words, by looking at their actions, their expressions, understanding what they are going through. That is communication. And they should also understand you. And as a leader, you need to create the avenue for them to understand you so that you can correlate and move together. So he said that communication is the lifeblood of leadership. And effective leadership is inseparable from effective communication. You have to be able to clearly articulate your vision, your goals, and your expectations as a leader. But let's know that when you say communication, as I said, it's not about talking. You tell your people, I want to read this, I want to do this, It's not about talking. It's about listening to their concerns. Active listening helps you understand feedback, navigate conflict among your team, and also make better informed decisions. Warren Bennis, he once said that leadership is the capacity to translate your vision into reality. And you can't translate your vision into reality if you are not able to communicate properly. So like we said, communication is the lifeblood of leadership. I have this quote by the former CEO of PepsiCo, Indra Nooyi. He said, leadership is about listening to people, understanding what they need, and then giving it to them. Simple, yet very, very powerful. Because if you understand the needs of your people and you are able to satisfy it, indirectly, they will also do whatever it is within their strength to satisfy your need. So by satisfying their need, you are leading by example. And that is crucial. Leadership is leading by example. Sometimes you are not able to break the barrier between leadership and management. These two are whole different concepts altogether. But this is not the time for me to go into the differences. We'll talk about that on another show, hopefully. Leadership is taking action, leading the team. Because your team is always watching. They are looking at you for cues on how to act, what to do, how to handle pressure, and what the organization's values truly are. You can't put your values of your organization, integrity, accountability, transparency, put all those values on the board in your books without acting. Then you are weakening the strength of your team. If the leader is not exhibiting integrity, the leader is not being transparent, the leader is not being accountable, indirectly you are telling the people not to do all of this. So like we said, you can't expect your team to be accountable if you are not accountable. You can't expect your team to be resilient if you are not resilient. You can't expect your team to be understanding if you are not understanding. Let's say as a leader, you crumble at the first sight of every challenge. You just crumble, you become weak. Yet you want your team to be resilient. How do they become resilient? Leadership is leading by example. And when you lead by example, you build credibility and trust faster than any pep talk ever would. And we should also know that a leader's journey is a continuous learning, building emotional intelligence. You are never done learning as a leader. The world is changing. Every single day we have new experiences. Every single day we have something new coming out. And as a leader, if you stop learning, you begin to fall. So as a leader, as the world is changing, you should also begin to change with the world. Seek mentors, read books, attend seminars, listen to experiences of people. Keep a growth mindset. Put aside a fixed mindset and do whatever you can to keep your skills sharp. Whatever you can to build upon your skills. Because what I know is that the best leaders are lifelong learners. And part of continuous learning is developing your emotional intelligence, what I call the EQ. Emotional intelligence is your ability to understand and manage your own emotions and empathize with others. Empathy is one of the most underrated skills in leadership. But what you forget is that empathy is the superpower for every leader. Because if your team feels like you are exhibiting empathy towards them, putting yourself in the shoes of your people, then what you should know is that as a leader, you'll be able to navigate tricky challenges, tricky situations, and build stronger bonds, and also make better decisions that consider the human element. Daniel Coleman, who popularized emotional intelligence, said, leadership is not domination. Leadership is the art of persuading people to work towards a common goal. And I also take this cue from Stephen Covey, who is the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where he said, leadership is a choice, not a position. We all have choices. We all make decisions. We all intentionally want to be leaders. It is not a birthright. It is something that we have intent to do. And so therefore, we should work towards it. Because becoming a leader isn't about just having the titles or having a corner office or having a small space in your room or your home or wherever it is. It's a continuous process of learning, of growing, and also of impacting the people around you. And let's know that all of this takes time, it takes effort, and also the willingness to be a little bit uncomfortable. You need to be able to move out of your comfort zone. Then that is where you begin to grow into a better leader. Leadership is about influence and impact, trust. And as a leader, or anybody listening, when you dedicate yourself to the journey, you become not just a leader, but you become an inspiration. Remember, leadership is not about standing above others. It's about standing with them. So as we are all growing to be leaders, let's stand with our followers. Let's be by their side, even though we are their leaders. And when we give them that respect, that trust, that belief, they give to us whatever it is we want from them. So as you continue on this leadership journey, I want you to ask yourself, am I leading by example? Am I growing daily? Am I making an impact that uplifts me? Because at the end of the day, leadership is not just about being followed. It's about making a difference. It's about making an impact. It's about touching the lives of people and leaving an indelible mark in their lives. Mark that will transform them every single day and every single time and wherever they find themselves. Thank you very much for listening to me. Stay connected with us on all our social media channels and wherever our name pops up. We are building a community of everyday leaders and we want you, your friends, and your families to be a part of it. Thank you for being with me on this journey. Until next time, remember that you are a leader every single day.